this job. I'm financially free. I quit. Got a one-way ticket to Mexico.
Morgan Nelson. At 21, you started manifesting, and then at 23, you became financially free.
How does somebody begin the process to get what they want?
If you want to get anything you want, you just got to reverse engineer the process of actually getting it. On one side, it's very like woo-woo, manifest, and the other side is just work your ass off. I don't believe in either of them, but I do believe in this aligned pursuit of the thing you want. This is what my whole life's work has been around, the art of creating your dream life.
Mr. Morgan Nelson. Good to have you on. First guest.
I'm so glad you guys picked me as your first guest.
Yeah,
Yes.
We're honored.
Did it be a good or a bad thing?
For the listeners who don't know you, what's your elevator pitch of who you are, what you do?
What do? I have an education company in Australia. We work with entrepreneurs, helping them learn the skill set and the mindset so they can create their dream life. My whole big thing has been dream out loud. Like whatever your dreams is, whatever you want to create, actually go ahead and do it. Not just talk about it. You know, when I was 23, I lived on the beach in Mexico, palm trees, sunshine, all this stuff. Like the idea that everyone thinks about when they think their dream life, right? And then I did it. And then I just got really obsessed on how I'd done that. And I wanted to teach it to the world. And, you know, many years later, that's our big thing. Apart from that, entrepreneur, business owner, founder, investor, traveler, life lover, snowboarder.
Snowboarder.
As of yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
New dad.
New dad too.
Yeah. You've worked with, I think I saw on your Instagram, 30,000 business owners.
Yeah, probably, like we haven't sat and counted it, but I went quite conservative with it. For the last like 12 years, I've traveled around the world. There's probably a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to go conservative, which is to the opposite of what most people do. Like I could have been like 100,000, but ultimately I don't know. There's minimum 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Either in person through seminars, programs, events, coaching, training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Events are probably your main thing. Your keynote speeches, you get up on stage, like that's where you thrive, right?
That's my place, yeah. Which is funny because in school, I always say I only went to grade 12 for the parties and the girls. Those are the only two reasons I said to grade 12. I was not academically smart. My teacher said to me, because we were trying to figure out what we're going to do when we leave school. Because in Australia, it's not as big like you guys here. Like you go to college. It's very much like that. If you don't, you'll go to jail or on the street, right?
Yep.
In Australia, it's not as much like that. Like you kind of go to university if you've got something you want to study. But I would not go to any university even if they would let me in. Like no one would even let me in. Like my grades were horrible.
Oh my gosh.
So I was asking sorry?
Did you want to go to university at the time?
No. Nothing would really fascinate me. Like I didn't want to. All I wanted to do when I left school was travel and have fun. That was it. So when my teacher said to me, like, what do you want to do? I said, I want to travel and have fun. They said, be realistic. I said, why? And I could never understand it. But then they said, here's what we recommend you don't do. Don't do anything in reading, writing, journalism, or speaking. Now I'm writing my first book. Will be published with one of the biggest publishers in the world. I speak all around the world. People pay me tens of thousands of dollars just to listen to the things I talk about. It's fascinating.
Where did that turning point happen? From like, I just want to have fun to now doing what you're doing.
Well, I have fun. Look at my whole life.
Yeah, you have
I travel the world and I have fun. That's all I do. Yeah. So I found a vehicle to allow me to travel the world and have fun because that's all I wanted to do. So I was 18 and we traveled Europe and I came back from Europe and I'm like, that was amazing. How can I do that? And I started to get curious on business and making money and how's this whole world work. And then when I was 23, I was financially free, moved to Mexico. And I've traveled 60 plus countries and made a lot of money doing it.
I love it. And I love that you want the adventure, the fun part. Like we know you from that perspective, the adventure, the fun part. And I guess like to kind of take things back, when you were like 18, you got told to be realistic. Like what put you on the path to live this more unrealistic life, coming from where you came from?
19 years old, I was a carpenter working on a job site, doing 70 to 80 hours a week. Drinking every day, using drugs every day, getting into fights nearly every single weekend. Like I said to you yesterday, my local town police knew me on a first name basis because I'd get arrested nearly like every few weekends in a row. I'd be like, bang. Wow. That was my life. And I tried taking my own life at 19 years old because I literally thought these were the cards that I got dealt in life. And I was like, this is shit. And I kind of started to just wake up and start looking around me. And I started to see just patterns in people. I'd be like, okay, these people here have a really horrible life. They're living all the patterns that I have. Like they're alcoholics, they're drug addicts, they're getting arrested, but they're 40, they're 50 years old. And then how come there's people like this who are traveling the world and they're happy and they have money And then so I started to just reverse engineer it. And I didn't know much about it at the time, but I just made a decision to stop surround myself with these shitty people and get around people that I wanted to be like. And then that led me to starting, actually I got involved with network marketing, which is big in America, right? I got involved in network marketing at 21, had no idea what it was. I thought it was a cult, which I think a lot of people,
Cult.
I messaged my friend, I said, dude, I can't do this, man, it's the cult. And he
This
goes,
is Isogenics?
yeah, I built Isogenics, yeah. And he goes, remember you're broke, come and check it out. And I was like, yeah, fair point. And I remember going inside and I saw this whole thing. I saw people becoming millionaires and traveling the world and having fun. I was like, this looks amazing. I can do this. And then he gave me a CD of a Jim Rohn CD. And I listened to the CD every single day on my way to the job site. And Jim Rohn started to just change my philosophy of life. And I realized, and now I put into a whole formula that, like, if you want to get anything you want, you just got to reverse engineer the process of actually getting it. But most people screw up the process, because the process actually is you look right to the end goal, which is, what's the lifestyle I want? The lifestyle I want, like, you don't want to grow a business because you want money. No one wants more pictures of dead people on a piece of paper in their wallet. It's not money. You want what money's going to do for you. You want to be able to just have your friends from Australia come over and drive up and go snowboarding for an entire day. You know what I mean? And then have Cuban cigars in a hot tub.
And then ash it in the
And then we get to that. But like, you want that lifestyle. Okay, so you start with the lifestyle. What's the lifestyle I want? I'm like, I want to have fun. I want to travel the world. I want to live on the beach. I want to live in Mexico. I want to be a digital nomad. Great. Then you reverse engineering. Come back one step. What's the result you need to have that lifestyle? Okay, well, the result I needed was, I'm like, I just need to make about $1,000 a week. If I can have that passively or residual income, that's going to be enough for me to live on. That's all I need. Great, that's the result I need. Then you do what every single person tells you to do. Go take massive action, right? Personal development 101, act. But the problem with that is, how many people do you know that work really hard but never get the result they want?
all the time. Yeah, so many people.
And I started to see this a lot. And I would compare myself. I'm like, I'm doing the work. You're doing work, but why does this person succeed and I don't? And it took me a while. It took me about nearly 2 years to figure out that there's one step before this. And it's the philosophy that drives your action. And I spent about 2 years rewiring my philosophy. Like, see, I had a philosophy that said, rich people are assholes. If you become rich, no one's going to like you. So I would work really hard, but I'd sabotage it all. Because why would I want to become rich? Because then unconsciously I think people aren't going to like me. I want to be liked, especially by my parents. I had beliefs that were like, in order to get rich, you have to work hard. In order to get rich, you have to be smart. And I believed I wasn't smart. I had all these like crazy beliefs and philosophies. Like, I had a philosophy that think like I had to watch Netflix every single day. Shit like this. Like, I didn't have this philosophy that I have now. And I started to rewire this thing. I never forget, like, Jim Rohn would say things like, don't wish life was easier, wish you were better.
Oh, I love that.
That changed my life, because before then I was a big victim. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, life's so hard on me. I wasn't born into a millionaire family. I could never become a millionaire. I had no idea that this was impossible. And then he said that in a CD, and I was like, that's fascinating. So maybe I can create what I want if I start to wish that I was better and focus on that thing. And so that was really where things started to pivot and changing all of this. My first 2 years in business, I sucked. I went nowhere. Everyone said I was going to be a loser, have no friends, never going to get anywhere. And it was all becoming true. And then in my third year in the business, I cranked it. And I was actually driving to my job site one day, and I got an email saying, you just got paid $4,100 this week from your part-time business. Ooh. And I was like, that's a pretty good weekly paycheck. Yeah. That wasn't every week. That was like a monthly bonus. But then I went to the job site the other day, and I was not thinking, and I put a grinder through my forearm. And that's when I made a decision, because I looked at everything I made for that whole year, like about 3 or 4 months before this. And you know how much I was making? About $1,100 a week on average, residually.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm financially free.
Yeah.
Fuck this job. And I quit. Got a one-way ticket to Mexico. And that started about a 4.5-year journey around the world as a digital nomad. I grew that business to, I was the top income earner in the whole company under the age of 25.
Wow.
We're doing over 7 figures a year in sales. We had 6,000 customers, my whole team, 19 countries around the world. It was sick.
You're a world traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Literally.
a world traveler. I want to take it back. So I heard you say one time that at 21, you started manifesting, and then at 23, you became financially free. I'm curious because I think there's a lot of talk around manifestation, and I think there's a lot of misconceptions around it. What did you do then in terms of manifestation? And is there any misconceptions that you see a lot with manifestation?
There are a lot of misconceptions with manifestation. I first watched The Secret when I was 21, and I was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. I was like, this makes sense as to what, because I used to go out clubbing and get into a fight. I'm getting arrested, and the cop's like, Morgan, why are you doing this again? I'm like, he started it. And I literally remember walking to Surface Paradise. That's like our clubbing street. And I just couldn't go out without getting in a fight. And after watching The Secret, I was like, I manifest people to fight every single time because I'm looking for it. I'm looking for people to, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once I started to shift this my focus, like that movie first just changed the way I focus on things. I was like, wow, like the things you focus on really do manifest and then become real. But if we really look at, like, I like the science because so I'm writing my book, The Dream Out Loud Method, and it's how to create your dream life, 5 laws, but it's the cross between, because I think any of these areas you go in self-development is, no one is wrong in this world, okay? Even if you look at the whole world of religion and everything, I think nothing's really a problem until you're an extremist of one thing, right?
Ooh,
Like you look at
agree with
like
that.
religion, I love feel of all these different religions, but where they can maybe start to become harder for people to get along is when they're an extremist. You know what I mean? I think everyone would agree on that. So it's the same with like in personal development. So I'm writing the book on the cross between of 3 things, which I kind of think personal development is about. Number 1 is practical psychology. But if you become an extremist in just psychology, then I think it could be an issue because there's no science to psychology. Psychology is the art of studying patterns and behavior, which is fantastic. But if you can trace Carl Jung back, a very long time ago, he was also funded by some pretty bad people. So, but then you've got quantum physics, which no one's actually been able to explain properly. Albert Einstein tried to prove quantum physics wrong for like 50 years. And then one of his last dying sort of notes, he wrote to his competitor and said, I haven't been able to prove this wrong. So I think you should probably study the opposite and go and try to prove why quantum physics does exist.
I didn't know that.
And then there's neuroscience, that's only a thing of the last like 30, 40, 50 years. So I like the cross between all these things. And I think where people go wrong with manifestation is they only believe in like one thing. So maybe like the psychological side, it's like focus on what you want and, focus on good thoughts. And that's fantastic. The quantum physics side of things, people are like, you can just sit and manifest and pray and it'll just fall in your lap.
Yeah.
And I love what, who is it? John Azaraf said. He was in The Secret. And he goes, one thing they forgot out of The Secret, they talk about the law of attraction, but they don't talk about the law of Goya, the law of get off your ass. He's like, you got to get off your ass. Like people think that. So the whole movie, The Secret, was very like, just think and pray and it will come.
Yeah.
And it's obviously missing a lot. And I think people know that now. But the quantum physics side of things is very interesting. However, I love the neuroscience aspect as well. So I like the cross between all 3. Use all 3 to your advantage, not being an extremist or biased to one or the other.
Yeah.
But where people are getting it wrong, I think are just, like I see a lot of people like, I'm just going to manifest. Someone said to me the other day, because I was speaking at this big conference. I didn't know, as you guys know, I don't really know what I'm doing until the morning of, right?
Which is impressive.
So you said to me yesterday, like, so you want to have a podcast tomorrow? I said,
Oh, really? I'll check tonight.
yeah. So the other day I was going for a walk along the beach and this lady came up to me. She goes, oh, like she knew me from social media. She's like, oh, I'm so excited to see you tomorrow. I'm like, what's tomorrow? She goes, I'm here for the conference. I said, cool. She goes, you're speaking at it. Oh, yeah. Sick. That's tomorrow. I said, no. And because that's like live in the moment.
Yep.
And she goes, because like a very big conference, there was about nearly 2,000 people at it. And she goes, how did you manifest that? I'm like, I didn't. I just do it. Like, I didn't sit and go, please give me a speaking gig. There's like a pendulum. On one side, it's very like woo-woo, like manifest. And the other side is just work your ass off. And I don't believe in either of them.
Yeah.
Right? But I do believe in this aligned hard work, this aligned pursuit of the thing you want.
Yeah.
Like, we met at Homosi's place. He's very much on this side.
Yeah, so much.
You know what I mean? And I think maybe one day he'll find an element. Like one day I think he'll realize there is no happiness in this pursuit of just money. And he may discover a side of this pendulum and a bit of this flow between going, I don't have to wake up and just work like a psychopath 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
He may find a balance of how can I work 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day doing what I love, and then find other things in life that just fulfill him as well. He may find it one day, perhaps. But that's what I think people are kind of screwing up. It's like one or the other. And I believe in this integrating, and it's neither this or that. It's both.
Yeah.
It's always, it's the integrated pursuit of when you're in alignment with what it is you actually want, right? When your head and your heart are in the right place and your feet are in the right place. It's like, so you focus on what it is you want. You intuitively are pulled by the vision, right? So you're not trying to create something to hurt someone else or create something that's off, like, outside of your value system, or you're just not fulfilled doing. It can be quite easy. Tony Robbins, the interview with Tony and Alex, you see that?
That was a really interesting one.
That's what Tony was talking about. He's like, it shouldn't be a pull. It shouldn't be a push. He's like, you find something that can pull you, all right? And this is why I never need a day to be motivated. Like, today's Sunday?
Today is Monday.
Today's Monday. Okay.
Tuesday in Australia.
President's Day.
Almost
Trump's
Tuesday
Day is what
in
you
Trump
call
Day.
it. Trump Day. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like the sweet spot. We talk all day about this, but the science of manifestation is, I like the everything is a vibration. Like your vibration is like everything vibrates.
It's all energy.
Has a frequency. So the quantum physics side of things says once you sort of can match that vibration with what it is you want, you'll call it in. And people try to push their way there, but it's actually about letting go of what's keeping you at a lower vibration. I was telling you yesterday about how some of my events, we have people face off with shame and guilt and anger and all these shitty emotions. That's what keeps people down. You meet someone who's like kind of not doing well in life. They have these crap, negative, stuck emotions where they're holding to the past.
Yeah.
But then you meet people who are maybe successful. I've met people who are very successful, but they're not happy. It's because they're operating from a state of complete force or desire.
Yeah.
Not operating from a place of just, joy, love, just this graceness of like happily achieving versus achieving to be happy. And that's a sweet spot. So I kind of forget all about this manifesting. Maybe because it's quite unconsciously confident now.
Yeah.
But
well, you take massive action now.
I focus on what it is I want. I'm extremely clear on what it is I want. And I will brainwash myself to remove the limitations that stop me from getting that. Right? The reason you don't have what it is you want is because your self-image doesn't hold that yet. Okay? So let's say if you want to become a billionaire, if you truly believe to your soul, your self-image was, I'm a billionaire, you'd get it. Because you would do certain types of things, you'd have a certain persona, you'd have a certain behavior, and there'd be no friction along it. The reason it's not there yet is because it would like if you're like, can I go do if I gave you $1 billion right now, right? If I said, let's do a business together, bang, it's $1 billion company, you'd probably both go home and you'd have this identity crisis for a moment of like,
Right.
What is going on? That's the self-image facing off being like, I didn't know that I was a billionaire. And this is why about 95% of people who win the lottery end up broker than what they are now, because they make money, their identity and their self-image. Think of it like an air conditioning, aircon,
AC.
AC. Think of it like an AC unit. You have a thermostat, right? So if it's set to, what would it be set to in here? What's
Like
the
70.
Yeah.
70 degrees, okay? We open up the doors, and let's say it's like summer outside. We open up the doors here. What eventually happens in the room?
It regulates.
Temperature goes up. We close the doors. What happens?
Goes down.
We'll come back down. But now let's say we're in Alaska. We open the doors. It gets freezing in here. Close the doors, and the temperature comes back up. Everyone has a thermostat. They're a wealth thermostat. They're a lifestyle thermostat. They're a health thermostat. They're a relationship thermostat. What I'll accept other people treating me as thermostat. Whatever I'm familiar with and comfortable with, I'll always accept that. Whenever I get anything over that, I'll sabotage and cut it down. So it brings me back down to where I feel familiar.
Yeah.
If I ever get lower, I'll be like, shit, and I'll pull it back up.
Yeah.
Okay, so like let's say you have a thermostat of how you'd expect Mason to treat you. If he started acting like a dick one day, you'd be like, I'm not accepting that, right? You put boundaries
Standard.
in, right? And this is why we see people attract the same partners. Like, why do you let him treat you like that?
Yeah.
Well, you're familiar with that. Like we were talking about my family the other day, right?
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's why. And that's why I just accept that's how it is until one's willing to elevate and grow their self-image and how they view themselves, their own self-esteem. You'll keep recycling the same results over and over and over until we really do the work.
I'm fascinated with this.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Yeah, no,
cut you off
I
there.
was going to say something too. And because you said a lot of good components there, and I think a lot of people, at least that listen to, our stuff or are in our world, are trying to make their life better, whether it's physically and stuff like that. I guess if you simply had to put that, because we're talking about thermostat, like how does somebody, begin the process to, start to get what they want? And like, say they are, just for the being on the thermostat, they're a 68 degree and they want to be, the life they want is 75 degrees. Like, how do they build that gap and start, because a lot of people have a background of like, some victimhood and less than and not enough. Like, how do they wipe that slate of all that, old patterns and start to build up to the place where they can actually have the faith in themselves, the belief in themselves, and like create that reality?
Mm-hmm. This is a 40-hour seminar.
Oh, I know. It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So this is what my whole life's work has been around. The art of creating your dream life. So I have a full formula, and so we can go as deep as you want and cut me off any moment or whatever. But there is actually a formula, right? So I talk about the 5 laws. So you mentioned one, how do you get from where you are to this next? If you're a 68, how do you get to 75? But then also develop the self-trust. There's 2 conversations here. But let me talk about the first one. So the laws of actually designing your dream life, it all starts with the right vision, okay? And which is very easy because I think no one would be on this podcast, no one's consuming this if they don't have a vision of that 75 life, right? We'll keep talking about that. So if you don't already have a vision in your life that you're in pursuit of something better, you won't take active action to consume something like this. Which 95% of people are like that. They're like, why would I, because they're fixed-minded, call it, why would I consume podcasts? Like, I'd just go play games and listen to stupid shit or like whatever it might be, right? They have no desire to want to spend an hour of their life and listen to something that could help them grow. So if they're already consuming this, they're in the right track. Their behavior is matching up. But people screw up setting goals. And it's funny this, when I was writing my book, because I've always battled with my marketing team to go like, how do we really articulate what it is I do? And I was halfway through writing my book and I called my marketing manager. I go, I know what I do now. She goes, what? I go, I teach the art and science of goal achievement. She's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah, create your dream life. I'm like, because this is all about actually how to achieve, But so I done some studies, and this is why people don't achieve what it is they want. And it comes down to the first step is setting the wrong target. Okay, so some people will either not set a target at all, or they will set the wrong target.
Why do they set the wrong target?
So there was a neuroscience lab in New York. They'd done this study, and they put 2 groups, okay? This is the first study they did. They put 2 groups together. This group A, they said, you guys just start running, okay, as fast as you can, and we're just going to tell you when to stop. Next group, you guys run as fast as you can. There's your finish line, okay? There's a finish line, go. So at the end of it, what they realized was not only did Group A finish a lot slower, same length, no finish line. They finished a lot slower, but they said that they didn't really enjoy the process. Group B said they finished a lot faster, and they all said they felt enjoyment, and it was an awesome time. So that was the first thing they already sort of discovered, that if you just have a target already, not only will you achieve it quicker, but you'll enjoy it. Okay, so but I don't have to bang on about that. I think personal development, success 101, set a goal.
Yeah.
But you got to set the right way. So why do people set the wrong way? They don't know how. What they've been told is set a 10x goal. Set a goal so big it scares you. But how do you quantify that? So I like a little bit of practicalness. Is that a word?
Practicalness?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll make it a word.
I like this. I like to be able to go, if you say set a big goal that scares you, how specifically do I do that? So they done a study. And the study was motivated or inspired by why most people don't save for retirement. So if you look at the average in Australia, it's 65 or something like that. In Australia, I don't know if it's like it here, but what happens is your employer pays this thing called your superannuation. So 10% of everything you make, your employer has to pay that for your retirement fund.
Similar
Oh, wow.
here.
Yeah, kind of
Okay.
like a 401k match,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. So when you retire, you've actually got some money. The government put that in place because they know the average person can't fucking think for themselves.
Right.
And have any cash ready when they need to retire. So if they don't have that, then they have a big crisis, right? They have people who are too old to work, who have no money. So they take control. It's crazy, right?
It's crazy, yeah.
But the average person doesn't save for retirement. This is exactly why. I was at a party once, 21 years old. I had my friend Carrie from New York, right? She's a broker. She owns a big brokerage firm and stuff. And she's punching these numbers into a calculator. And she's like, Morgan, if you invest this much money every month in the S&P 500, you'll be a millionaire before you're 65. And I looked at her, I go, Carrie, I don't want to wait to 65. I want to be a millionaire now. I'm going to be a millionaire in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I completely disregard her advice for investing because I thought I'll be a millionaire in my 20s. I don't need to care about that. But then when I was about 26, I realized you could have both.
Yeah.
I started to do it.
Yeah.
But I broke that down. I was like, why was I so ignorant to that? You know why? Because I was 21, retirement 65, 44 years away. It's too far away. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
So what
Needs to
drives,
be close enough.
and the right size. So let me break down, this is the science to it. Right? This is why I like the neuroscience side of it. Because if the goal's too far away or too big or too small, it doesn't do this one thing you need in your nervous system to actually motivate you. So if it's too big, it's too far away, I'm not motivated by that. I don't care. I'm not going to start saving a few $100 per week. I'm not going to sacrifice now for a 40. I might be dead by 65.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
You
One
don't
in
care.
3 people don't even make it to 65 years old. So why would I do that? It's too far away. But if the goal's too big, so what happens is this. We sit down and go, okay, you made X amount of dollars last year. Let's say you make $1 million last year. And I go, what's your big goal this year? You go, okay, this year I'm going to do $100 million. It's so big, your self-image goes, that's not going to happen. Okay. But if it's so small, I made $1 million last year. Let's make 1.1 this year. You go,
It's not motivating.
yeah. Because it's not really different. So you need to find this sweet spot between, okay, what do you think you can really do? If you really push, okay, I did $1 million this year, let's 3x. Okay, do 3 million. Okay, you think you can do 3? Good. Go bigger then. Go to 5. You go to 5, you go, oh, do you think you can do it? Maybe. And then you ask the question, if you had to do that, what would you need to do and not do? And what happens is, when it's at this sweet spot, you actually have less ways to get there. If the goal is smaller, so if you just had to double your business this year, you go, well, if we go double, we could do this, we do this, we do this, we do this, we could add this product, we do this. But if I go triple it then, you go, shit, the only way we could triple is if we just did this and this and didn't do that. Good. Then do that.
And do that. Yeah.
Then what happens is,
experienced that.
because the mind is always trying to trick you, the mind is trying to keep you playing within the zone of familiarity, comfort zone. It's trying to keep you playing in the zone. We can talk about why, but the one thing you need to create motivation, okay? Because if you're not motivated, you're not going to take action. Motivation doesn't come from a motivational clip. Motivation doesn't come from getting yourself fired up, listening to music. Doesn't come from any of that. Motivation comes from the release of adrenaline. You got adrenaline in your body, you're motivated. You move fast, yes? So what releases adrenaline? A rise in systolic blood pressure. That's it. When you have your systolic blood pressure increases, your mind focuses in. This could be dangerous. Pay attention. Adrenaline through the roof. You get an adrenaline dump. Bang. Motivated. What doesn't lower your systolic blood pressure? A goal too big, a goal too small. It's not big enough for me to care about. It's too small for me to care about. So I'm going to keep, nothing's going to change. You rise it to the point where you're nervous. You've ever set a goal, your nervous system, you're like, that's scary.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. Your body's like, holy shit, this is scary. Love it. Great. But stay in that zone of fear, okay? Because fear is dumb anyway. But you stay in that zone, but then ask those questions. If I was going to do this, how would I do it? And this is why I honestly believe 95% of people don't hit their goals, because they just set the wrong goal from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, 95% of people, when you said that, the thing that I was going to bring up earlier, will gain weight back after they've lost it. And I think it goes back to what you were talking about with identity and
The
self-image.
thermostat, it's how they see themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I've always been fat.
Yeah.
I've always been on a diet. A diet has an end date, right? That's why when I meet people, I've been sober for 375 days. Stop counting. Why? Because the presupposition is that's going to come to an end one day. Why are you counting? If the identity is I'm sober, right? You don't have the identity of I'm sober. You have the identity of I'm recovering. Okay? Meaning that's not complete yet. Meaning you can still relapse. I was sober for 1,000 days and I relapsed. Why not just have the identity straight away and start speaking the language? Your words create your worlds. Why not start creating the language of I'm sober? Because sober people don't drink or do drugs.
Yeah.
Right?
There's no end date.
And one of the biggest, and I've learned this from some of my friends who we've mentioned, who train CIA and stuff, one of the highest influence skills is to, people will keep acting in ways that are familiar and reinforce what they believe to be true about themselves. So if you have the identity of, I'm a fit person, okay, you always have the behavior of doing that behavior. If you have the identity of, but I'm lazy, you'll avoid the gym. Maybe you could be motivated, you could do a 16-week challenge or something, and you get results in 16 weeks, but what about when you don't have a coach again? You'll fall back into that, well, but I'm just a lazy person. Oh, but I've always been overweight. But I've always, whatever the thing is. So whatever the identity is or the self-image, we will keep acting in ways to confirm it because the lack of, if we have to keep acting in ways to confirm who we think we are, because anything that threatens our identity we'll defend. Because the number one need of humans is certainty. Okay, this is why we stay where we are, right? So get this, like 12 years diving into this subject, and I teach the people in like 60 seconds on stage. I'm like, give me 60 seconds. I'm gonna teach you exactly why people won't change, and if you do want to change, this is what you need to change, right? Think about this. I draw out on the board. I said, tell me exactly what it is you want. Like, what's the extraordinary life you want? And people are like, I want a jet, I want money, and I want this. Amazing. Describe to me the opposite of that. What's a life of mediocrity? And people are like, oh, victim, complaining, angry, sad, all this. I said, okay, cool. So put up your hand. How many of you live this great life all the time? No one's hand to go up. How many of you live this life more times than you like to admit? Everyone's like, yeah. I said, hold on a second. I said, so you live here? Yes. Put up your hand if you like living here. And everyone's like, no. I said, then why the fuck do you live here? Like, you don't like this place, but you live here.
You choose it.
So let's break it down. Why do we stay here? Because we will stay in places we don't want to be in, not because we enjoy it, but because it's familiar. We will not want to change from where we are here to a land of possible better for the risk of possible worse. So I will stay in a shitty relationship, stay in a shitty business, stay with a shitty mindset, health, income, bank account, because at least I know with certainty what I'm getting.
Do you think that goes back to the certainty tied to the real
Survival.
baseline? Yeah, survival.
And I'll
Everything
follow
we
that
do is
up.
survival.
I'll follow that up because I think we all can agree that like we've created these lives because we've been able to lean into uncertainty like not knowing what's going to happen. And I think, going back to the identity piece, part of recreating yourself is being like very comfortable with being able to go into uncertainty. And I feel like a lot of people aren't. Even like for someone to start something new, whether it's a fitness journey, whether it's a new lifestyle to be a lot healthier, like there's uncertainty, like you said, it might not work. How does somebody lean more into that and like be able to actually like do that over and over? Like again, with having, needed certainty for so long.
So this is the second part of the equation, right? I said, so talking about creating the goals and the self-trust thing. If I could only write one book for the rest of my life and leave it for people to make the biggest impact, it'd be a very short book on how to develop self-trust. Because
Is that important?
it's the only thing. Like if you've got massive amounts of self-trust, you'll crush it. Why? Because entrepreneurship is about moving through the space of uncertainty. Like we said yesterday, you're like, we're just in this space now. We don't know how to get to the next place because otherwise, if we did, we'd be there.
Right.
We're navigating these next steps. And that's what makes good entrepreneurs, to be able to go, I have no idea. Let's take bigger risks and hope that it pays off. That's entrepreneurship. I will take risk in hope that my risk will give a payoff. That's entrepreneurship. So how do we actually do this? So if we break down the brain, okay, I was watching this, Cesar Millan, he's big here, right?
Who's it?
The dog trainer.
We don't
like
watch it, but he might be big here.
He's like a famous dog trainer or something, right? Cesar Millan. And I was like on this YouTube thing, watching some stuff, and I watched this guy, and this lady comes to him, and she's like, help me with my dog. He's a little dog. He bites everybody, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, okay, let's have a look. He says, this dog bites everyone that comes in contact with her. And then he gets on the ground, and his knees are spread, right? And he's pulling this dog into his balls area, right?
Oh,
and the dog is going, rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, well, that's a risky
Yeah,
move,
that's a very
Caesar.
risky move.
And he pulls the dog all the way into his groin, and he scoops him like this, holds him for a second. He's like, rah, rah. For 3 seconds, he goes, rah, And then he starts patting him. He's like, you don't have a broken dog. You just have an insecure dog.
Oh, interesting.
He said, so our brains operate the same as a dog, okay? We are just a little bit more intelligent. Some people are a little bit more intelligent. And they have the prefrontal cortex as well, right? We have layers to the brain. So what happens is we have a section of the brain called the amygdala, okay? And that's what fires up. So so it goes, this is scary, okay? This thing is scary. Then it will move, so it will signal that, and then it will move out to our hypothalamus, which will say, run away or attack this. So do some sort of behavior, okay? Then after the fear, the cortisol actually starts to lower, the prefrontal cortex comes in and rationalizes what just happened. Have you ever done something in a moment where you're like, you freaked out, you reacted, then when you calm down, you're able to look back on it and actually have a little sense of intelligence to it? Logic's the perfect word because the rest of the brain is all emotion, right? It's instinctual and it's emotional. Then you rationalize, you go, why did I do that? I didn't mean to say that. Mason, your biceps are actually really big.
I
Right?
appreciate that. You can still come touch it if you want to.
I didn't mean to say that, right? But like we've been in moments before where our brain's been firing and we say dumb shit because too much cortisol in the brain, okay? And it literally makes us unintelligent because there's not enough space for blood to flow properly, okay? That's why you say dumb shit when you're stressed, when you're angry. But when it comes down, you can rationalize it. So what happens is, we'll take skydiving as a really good example. Most people say, I'd never skydive in my life. That is their amygdala talking, right? That is them going, I'm anticipating that is going to be the scariest thing in my life, okay? And they're expecting this thing that hasn't happened yet. So they bring this future back into now, creating a belief or reinforcing their self-image of, I'm not someone who takes risks like that, or whatever it might be. So I'm not going to do it. Or I'm going to write off a future possibility in the now because my judgment or whatever. And they don't do it. But I've never met someone who was scared to go skydiving, that went skydiving, that when they landed on the ground said, yeah, that was the worst thing I've ever done.
Never.
What they always say is, that was awesome, let's go again. Always, right? I took my friends here last time we were here. I'm like, let's go skydiving. And they didn't want to go at all. And they ended up jumping, I think, 2 or 3 times in the day.
Wow.
Like, this is so much fun.
Wow.
That's the perfect example of layering through the brain. The amygdala is like, this is horrible. I hate it. So the brain then wants to fight or flight. That's why they strap you to them. Like, you can't go anywhere. You're going with me. You go through the fear. You push through the thing that's so scary. You get to the bottom. The brain rationalizes it and goes, that wasn't so bad.
And I think it boosts your confidence a lot too, right?
And this is developing self-trust, right? Because there's all these neurochemicals that get released. Like there was a fear, all this happens. Then you land, and it creates this like chemical. I forget the exact, but there's this chemical reaction, right? Let's just keep it simple. So the chemical reaction happens when you do land. It actually starts to bond together and develop this, let's just keep it in English, self-trust. Because you can look back on something that was scary and you got through it and you went, I'm a fucking badass. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why people can become extremely successful and extremely unsuccessful, is the patterns on what they do when things get hard. The whole saying, if you do what's hard, life will be easy. If you do what's easy, life will be hard. My trainer, when I was growing up in the boxing gym, he said to me all the time, train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. So he'd push me so hard in the gym. So when I'd get in a fight, I would annihilate them because it'd be easy. That's when I do crazy fight training out here in America, we train under intense, wild conditions that are so not going to happen in the real world, because when it does happen, if I can do it here, it's going to be simple here.
You're over prepared.
Yeah. So you do what's hard, life will be easy. If you do what's easy, life will be hard. And this is exactly why, because if you keep going through a series of events in your life where the average person goes, I don't want to do that because it's uncomfortable, it's unfamiliar, it's scary. If you make the decision, go, screw it, I'm going to do it anyway. And you take those 3 moments of courage, because people are waiting for confidence. They're like, when I'm confident enough, I'll speak on stage. I was never confident to get on stage. That's why I got into it. You asked before, what got me into it? Yeah. I got into it because I started understanding about the brain. If you stay in your comfort zone, life's going to be shit. If you get out of your comfort zone, your life's going to grow. So I said, speak on stage. That sounds horrible. I'm going to do it. And I started once. I hated it. I did probably 20, 30 times before I ever actually got on and go, this is kind of fun now.
Yeah.
But what started happening was I'd get on and be like, oh, that was horrible. I'd get off stage and I'd be like, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I'd start to develop these little tiny files in my filing cabinet of going, I'm pretty good actually. Where I used to have files that would say, you're so shit. You can't. See, like you say you want to hit a goal. You say you want to drop 20 kilos, 20 pounds, whatever. But you can't even wake up at 6 o'clock when you said you were going to wake up tomorrow at 6 and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
But because no one else knew you didn't do it, you thought it was okay.
But your brain knows.
But you knew.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what happens is every single time you break your word, it takes a full file, puts it in a filing cabinet, and will start to stack evidence of who you believe you are. Every single time you break that pattern, you do something different, it starts to shock it, and it takes that file and goes, maybe I'm better than who I thought I was. Right? So developing self-trust is not an overnight thing. You're looking at 12 years in the process here of doing skydiving for fun, right? Skydiving, traveling by myself to wild countries, like places that, anyway, we've crossed borders without passports and stuff into places that you should not be in. And when I've been in there, I'm like, this is hectic. I'm like, how would I get myself out? I've had to throw myself into crazy situations of, and I don't recommend that from the get-go, but every time I'm in a very uncomfortable situation, I love it now because I like to think this is new. And because I've got 12 years of this, like continually doing hard things, uncomfortable things over and over and over, I have a filing cabinet now that goes, this is extremely uncertain, bring it at me.
Yeah.
Because I trust myself in uncertain times now. But there was definitely a time where I didn't. If it was uncertain, I'd be like, this is scary, I'm going to abort.
Right.
But if it's uncertain and it's unfamiliar, keep pushing through, because eventually you get through it. Like you'll get it out alive maybe one day.
Yeah.
And you'll get through it to the other side, and then your brain comes down, you rationalize, you're like, that's pretty badass, man.
Yeah, and it wasn't that scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just like, it was all just made up in my head. That's exactly what it is. So I put people through really crazy scenarios in Australia. Like we'll get a hunting arrow, we'll put it into their throat in here, right? So they put a hunting arrow straight into here, and someone else holds it like this. I'm like, you're all about to walk through this and snap this hunting arrow with your throat. And everyone's like, no. So, yeah. I've done it a lot, right? Most of the time it works. We put through we put hundreds and hundreds of people through this thing, and we show them how to literally, in the moment, in the space of like a few seconds, completely like be in control of their mind, bend reality in front of them using neuroscience and quantum physics, because the whole thing is, if you focus on fear, it's there. Because fear, the definition of fear is anticipating pain in the future. If you're living in fear, you're living in the future, right? And then you know what happened? You'll manifest it in reality.
Right.
If you focus on the present, courage, certainty, in control, okay, you can move through anything. You can move through any moments of discomfort. And that's what happens. People get out the other side and they're like, I can't believe it's done that.
Do you recommend starting small? Because you did extremes. You've gone skydiving, you've spoken on big stages, and it seems like you're kind of I
started small.
Jump in the deep end.
Yeah, because the same thing. If it's too big, right, you'll shock your nervous system, you'll shock your body. Like so as a leader, this is good for leadership development, because this is a good example, right? You're obese, you work out a lot. We go train in the gym. What do you deadlift?
Like
how many bodies?
Oh, I mean,
how many Audreys?
Enough.
How many Audreys?
Enough. Yeah, enough.
Give me a number.
Like I could probably just rep out 405 for like 10 plus maybe.
Okay, so 405.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
So let's say I don't really like to deadlift. Okay, so let's go train in the gym, and you load up 405. You do 10. You go, all right, now your turn. Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
You go, but I can do it. You do it. But it doesn't make any sense. But we would never do that as a trainer, right? So why do we do it when we're leading teams? Okay, so you've been in the gym for probably your whole life since the day you were born. You came out bench press, bicep curling bottles or something. Yeah,
looks like it.
And so you've had so much more years in conditioning than me. So it wouldn't make sense for me to come and do the same. So you'd probably want to find what's a good level for me to start at. Let's rep some out. Let's find a baseline. Then we'll start to push past my baseline a little bit. Every single week we train together. You'd be like, okay, last week you did 100. This week we're doing 110. Come on, you can do it, right? And just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Because if you take someone from within their zone of tolerance, okay, there's a zone of tolerance every single person has. I'm happy operating in this zone, okay? But the moment I come out of my zone, I feel very uncomfortable. I feel scared. But I can tolerate moments of uncertainty. I can tolerate a certain amount of it. But once I'm outside that zone for too long, or it's too big, then I'm having like a nervous meltdown, and it's too much. I'll have a collapse. I might like concave. I might associate the trauma. Like, who knows, right? I might come back to another time in my life. Like, it doesn't matter. So as a leader, your job is to notice how fast and how far can you push someone before they really break. You don't want to get that, because now it's unpractical.
Right.
So you want to find their baseline first, right? So as a leader, if I'm training somebody, so I run a program called Unstoppable Speaker, where I train people how to be speakers. And I love it because the skill and the art of influence communication is great. But I say to people come and they never want to be a speaker. And they said, should I still do this? I said, yes, because it's one of the best personal development programs I run. Because if I can train you for 4 days to give a keynote talk in front of a whole group of like people, and it's extremely uncomfortable, then you're gonna be so confident when you need to go give a hard conversation to one person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna build this self-confidence within, because I use the stage as a metaphor, because most people are petrified being on stage. But on day one, if I'll say to everybody, all right, get up here, take your clothes off, and speak to everybody, they'd be like, what? Right? I don't get them to take their clothes off. But I probably could after like 10 days. Legit. Like, if we did, okay, here's a little bit outside your comfort zone, 10 minutes outside your comfort zone, come back down. And then tomorrow, okay, half an hour outside your comfort zone, come back down. Tomorrow, the next day, 1 hour. Okay, now make it a little bit weird, make it a little bit weirder. By then, 10 days, they'd be like, okay, you have to do it naked in front of everybody. They're like, this sucks, but I can handle it. And they'll be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's about, in leadership, it's about knowing how far and how fast you can push someone. So I would absolutely recommend people not to go in deep, but listen to themselves. Like, start to listen to their own self-trust.
Yeah.
Where it would probably start is when people go, oh, I'd never do that. Do that.
Yeah. Because
Oh my
it'll
God,
change
that's
your
so
identity.
scary. Do that then. Like, you're not going to die.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, if start with getting on your phone and talking on your story.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of people who are still petrified in that, like talking video face to cam, go do that. Go do a video for 30 days straight. Talk about whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll be like, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Or you can go start speaking or like whatever it might be. Like, this is why I like skydiving. I like to take people, let's go jump out of an airplane.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Which is an extreme, but like there's going to be people that are very down for
I'll
it.
give them a bit of prep beforehand. But it's all, it sounds extreme, but it's also not that much because you're not in control. You know what I mean? Like, you just go rock up and then let the instructor, it's about just putting your trust in someone else and letting them do it. And then you got to experience it. So it's like, you got to surrender and go through it. But you know, I wouldn't recommend doing like,
Jumping
get yourself
off.
kidnapped in Vegas and things like this. Like
Something that you would do.
What we've done. You know,
It's funny 'cause-
but start with just small things where this is why I like to challenge people all the time when like, oh man, that's so scary. I'd never do that. I think we should go do that then. And then as a leader, I'd never ask someone to do something that I haven't done or wouldn't do myself.
That's a good rule. It's funny. One of the things that has changed my identity, and it's one of those things, like you said, like you do it once and you're like, oh, you know, that wasn't that bad. Or like you kind of start to ask yourself, what else can I do?
Yeah.
The first experience that I had with that was probably going to the gym. My family was so unhealthy. Going to the gym was like such an identity crisis for me. I don't belong in the gym. And then snowboarding. We just spent how many hours yesterday snowboarding together?
You shredded it.
We shredded the Nart. But so we went obviously, and I'm, you know, cruising down the mountain very effortlessly. I'd like to think so anyway. Not hitting 40 top
Is that
speed.
when you were tumbling?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I saw an avalanche yesterday, and that was you. But snowboarding for me was one of those moments where, you know, I hadn't seen snow until I was 21 with him. I had always been a beach girl. So I never even really loved the mountains that much. And when I met him and he's going down double blacks, I'm not going to not snowboard, right, in our relationship. So I started taking lessons. And then even after I would say the first lesson, it was like my identity completely changed because something I'd always said I'd probably never do, I did.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the most powerful things. So I think that's probably an example of starting small. If you don't envision yourself being very athletic, go do something that's semi-athletic. And it will completely change how you view yourself.
Yeah, because you start to stack this evidence, right? Where you're like, I don't know if I could do this, but you took moments of courage first to sign yourself up to a class. You're like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna throw myself into this unknown zone here. I'm just gonna have fun. And you started doing a little bit. You got some evidence. And you're like, it's actually not that. Maybe I could do this. But what I love that you did, which you mentioned, because this is the second law, right? The first law is the right vision. The second law is the right environment. Because this is wild. So we are literally the sum of the people we surround ourselves with. We've all heard that, right? Yeah. Self-development 101. Surround yourself with 5 healthy people, you'll be the 6th. 5 rich people, you'll be the 6th. Yada, yada, yada. But why? Because the science of this. So there was a study done by a guy called Solomon Asch. Okay. Now the study was technically a little bit different how I'm going to explain it, but I'm going to make it simpler so you can understand it better. Essentially what happened was they put 4 lines on a board. Okay. One of the lines was double the length of the other lines. And they brought in a whole group of people into the room. 3 of them were paid actors. 1 was a real person. They told the paid actors, circle A. Okay, A was not obviously the answer. And they said to them, which line is different from the rest? So they all circled A. And the real guy comes in and goes, no, the answer is D, which was double the size.
Yep.
They reset. They did it again. The second time he comes in with more doubt. I think it's D. Circles D. They reset, they do it again, they did it again. By the time they got to the 4th, 5th, or 6th time, okay, they've done a study hundreds of times all around the world. Different people. You know what happens?
He circles A.
The real person comes in and goes, yeah, the answer's A. It takes 4 times. And I do this as a live study every time I teach this. And I do it with the room. So I say, I draw the lines on the board. I say, yell out which one's different. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. And everyone's like, D. I'm like, huh? I said, yell it out, and I always lose about half the room straight away. I said, yell it out, really? And I just challenge, really? Are you sure? Are you sure? And I was like, I think so. I said, who would bet me 10 grand? And by the time I get to the end of it, you know what happens? I have about 3 to 5% of the room still willing to bet me 10 grand. Everyone else I've talked out.
What's the difference between the 3 to 5 who are willing to stand there and say it's still this answer versus those who cave in?
Except for them maybe seeing me do this in the past. I would bet, if I was to bet on this, it would be someone with higher levels of self-trust or just those people who are rebels. You know, the ones who are just like, I don't give a fuck about you. I'm going to do it. Like, it's those just personalities. They're called mismatches. This is what's funny, actually, about, I love a good conspiracy, but the flat earth thing, I haven't found any justifiable evidence that makes that one make sense for me yet. But I saw something that this is what made a lot of sense for me. They said, I saw a study. So there's personalities called mismatches. Okay. And when they get stressed, so we have like, I think there's about 7 or 8 different archetypes that play out when we're under stress. Okay. And I look for these when I'm leading people. That's how I can start to see, okay, they're in the stress zone. I'm the joker. So when things are really, if things are uncomfortable for me, I'll crack a joke. I'm like, really funny. That's how I self-soothe. But there's these people called the mismatches. So what they'll do is they'll say, I'll be like, you like my black shirt? It's not black, it's gray. They're like, it's not this, it's that. Whatever you say, they have to do the against. It's just their personality type. They want to just go against the grain just for the sake of it, okay? So what they found a whole bunch of flat earthers, and what they found was actually they all had that same personality type.
The mismatchers. Really?
So then it's like, okay, do you actually believe the earth is flat, or do you just follow that because you just don't want to believe the earth is round?
And you like to be a rebellion. Interesting.
So I saw that. I'm like, I followed that study more. So now I believe in the round earth even more because I'm like, a lot of the people pushing it are just that natural type anyway. They just don't, they love the conspiracy. I love conspiracy because I just like to find truth.
Yeah.
People like conspiracies because they just don't want to believe what they're being told. Therefore, they want to go against the grain. That's fine. So why are we talking about, the difference of people? I would say either there's somebody like myself who plays sit there and go, I would critically think with my own thoughts and not let the outside influence me and go, no, that's the answer. Like we're watching the game last night. I'm like, well, I would do it like this because I wouldn't care about, the opinions of other people. I'd be like, I'm doing this. I would do this
for my family. And
so it's either someone with high levels of self-trust and self-security who could just do that, or mismatches, probably.
Interesting.
Because the average person will do what others around them are doing. And that's why. So the science of this is, if you think back a million years ago, you're walking through the jungle with your cavemen and cave women and you're hunting. And you've got the map. You're the navigator, okay? And you know with absolute certainty that there's a crossroad. And you're left or right. You know with absolute certainty you're the navigator. Right is the fastest, quickest, safest way home. But the whole group go, we're going left. And you go, no, guys, we have to go right. You go, we don't give a fuck about you. We're going left. You coming or not? What do?
you're going to go left.
You're
You go left.
Yeah.
Of course. But then you get attacked by a local tribe and you're spearing someone and you yell out, I fucking told you we should have gone right.
That's
Right?
hard though, right?
How many times that happened, right?
Many
Like,
times.
I
Yeah.
knew this was going to happen.
I think that happened last month when we were in Paris.
So
whenever
that happens, you were just a victim of social compliance.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's the most embedded script in our DNA, though, right? Like
Survival.
Yeah, you're alive today because your ancestors found a way to also stay alive and reproduce. That's why you're alive. So they pass down genetic coding through your DNA. So when you have this instincts, it's most of the time it's actually passed down genetics. Where you're like, well, my ancestors just knew do this. So you have this reaction first, and then you can't rationalize it. Okay, so with the Ash experiment, what happens is all these people join in because I start to challenge them. And as soon as I get a few people start to challenge, then the rest will start to snowball and join in. Because why? It's safer for me to join in than it is for me to stand out and maybe be wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And then I go, I just made all of you doubt your own reality. Right? It's double the length. You saw something different. Do you understand that? Like what you think you saw with your eyes, I completely convinced you that it wasn't actually true, and you gave up $10,000.
That's a crazy concept. But that's probably one of the hardest things though, right? Because when you're trying to reinvent yourself, if you want to be richer, you want to be healthier, you have to be willing to stand out.
So think about this. What's the shortcut then? Surround yourself with people where they don't think you're dumb for doing what you're doing.
Yeah. But sometimes if you're
You gotta leave the tribe.
Yeah, but if you're the broke person and you want to get into a room of really rich people, that can be really hard to do sometimes.
It's not. Yeah. Pay for it. You've done that.
Yeah.
that we have.
It's true.
Pay for your way in. And then people are like, but I don't have the money. Start smaller. Pay with time. Pay with time. I never knew how valuable an EA was until I hired one. I used to thought, I was like, why would someone be my assistant? Then I hired an EA. I'm like, that is the best job on the planet.
You've convinced me of that.
Yeah.
You really convinced me of that.
But like, if I had knew how valuable that was, I would have gone to the person I want to be mentored from earlier in life and say, can I be your assistant? I'll park your car. I'll fill up your car. Whatever you need. I'll book your calendar. I'll like, holy shit, man. The things I've taught my EA in the last year, negotiating, deal making, leadership, like this. Okay, they want to ask me for this much. We're going to negotiate back. Watch me get twice as much. How are you going to do that? I said, watch this, say this. Like the amount of stuff I've been able to teach so he can be me, I can clone myself.
Yeah.
My God, people would pay me a lot of money to have that learning.
Yeah.
So you can absolutely get into the rooms you want to get into. Just stop believing the lie that tells you why you can't. And then you start making some money, then you pay for your way in.
Yeah.
You pay for your way in, right? But in the beginning for me, this is what was happening. I was being attacked by my tribe, okay, because I started network marketing, right? But I've been out of network marketing for like 8 years or so. But when I started, everyone was like, you're a loser, it's never going to work, that's a scam, blah, blah, all this shit, right? But luckily, I had an environment on the inside that they're all like, you can do it, I believe in you. And I just had to choose which environment actually has my best interest. The ones who are trying to tell me I'm a loser, I'm never going to go anywhere, or those who are actually saying, you have no idea how good you actually are. I believe in you, you can do this, right? So I started to surround myself, I started to drown out the noise, okay, of this, until the point where I could become a better person. You see, everyone has the decision at any moment to be one of three types of people. You can either be the egg. If the egg goes into a boiling pot of water, what happens to it?
Hard boiled.
Hardens.
It gets all hard, right? And eventually stays in it too long, it'll implode. It's like, You've seen people do that? Or you can be a potato. Put a potato in the water, what happens?
Softens.
Goes all soft and crumbles. Or you can be a teaspoon of coffee. Put teaspoon of coffee in the water, what happens?
Disintegrates. It becomes one with it.
Right.
It transforms its environment.
Yeah. Oh.
It changes the water to coffee, doesn't it? You can make the decision at any moment. You know, I want to be the egg. I'm going to let the environment crack me. Or I'm going to be a potato. I'm going to let the environment just crush me. Or I'm going to walk into any environment and I'm going to transform those around me to be better people. Right? But coming through the process, my journey for a long time was continually being around people where I could allow them to pull me up.
Yeah.
Until I got to the point where I would get in any room and I could transform other people and pull out their best self.
Yeah. I've seen you obviously transform a lot of lives, 30,000 business owners. Do you think there's a certain personality type or there's a certain upbringing that almost makes it, I don't want to say impossible for somebody to be successful, but do you think everybody, no matter where they're starting, no matter what their current belief systems are, do you think they can be successful?
I think they can, absolutely. Will they? No.
Why is that?
Because I think some people don't actually want to change. Because it comes with willpower, doesn't it? Isn't there a level of, if it was, I did something on social media the other day about this. I'm like, I was like, entrepreneurship is hard. Like, no, it's not. Being broke is hard. Giving up on your dreams is hard.
Yeah.
Being overweight is hard.
Yeah.
Being unhealthy, having a shit relationship, that's hard. Both hard. Choose which one you want.
Choose which hard.
Yeah, and I remember going to bed at night when I was really building my business. I was just working 12 to 14 hours a day, came home wrecked, and I tell myself, it's just tomorrow's a different day. Just work on your business tomorrow. Because it was hard to pull out my phone, follow up with sales, and get some new sales. It was hard to do that. But then the day I realized that I drew out a current vision for my life. So when we're talking about manifesting, I drew out my future vision I wanted, living in Mexico. That was literally my vision. Then I drew out a current vision. So my current reality and all the things that sucked about it. And that was my why. Everyone talks about, what's your why? And I'm confused for so long. I thought my why was my vision. I was like, my why is because I want to live in Mexico. That's why I want to do what I want to do. But that's being motivated by pleasure. Pleasure is motivated, but pain is 5 times more motivating. I've seen some studies. I don't know how they've motivated. I don't know how they've measured this, but I've seen they've said about it's 11 times more motivating.
Wow, pain is.
And how do we know that is? If I've never met anyone who said, I don't want to be richer, happier, healthier, and have more freedom ever.
Right. Exactly.
Everybody wants it. So
But no, not everyone gets it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if that pleasure to have this outcome was so motivating, everybody would have it. But the reason they don't have it is because they think getting it or going through the process of getting it will be more painful than having it.
Right.
So let me ask you, do you believe in the whole, there's that quote, in order to change, the pain of staying the same has to exceed the pain of change. You know that whole quote?
Yeah. I haven't heard that quote, but I like it. But that's 100% it. Okay. Because if someone comes up to me and they said, I want to make $1 million this year. Why? So I can have freedom and travel the world. Okay, cool. Are they going to do it? Chances are, no. But if I said to them, I have your mom here and I'm going to shoot her in the head if you don't have $1 million by the end of next year.
Right.
Watch that person work like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah, they'll make it happen.
They'll make, because you know why? Because they get resourceful. So everybody has it in them. They just choose how much resources do they want to tap into. And I truly believe everybody has infinite potential. It all just comes down to how they see themselves. What's the belief system they have around executing on that potential is how much they'll actually tap into. So can everybody create massive success? Absolutely yes. Okay, will they? No, because I don't know. It's you're being tempted every day.
Yeah.
You're being tempted every day. You know, to get in really good shape, you're being tempted. Do I eat chicken and broccoli today, or do I have a Snickers?
It's like the analogy that you were kind of mentioning. It's like if little Bambi's running away from a bear, right? Bambi's going to be much more inclined to run away because it's survival, right? The pain of dying. But the bear can always go chase another deer, right? Because the bear's, going towards the goal. And like you said, people aren't as driven to go towards their goals. It's why, we talk to a lot of women every single day that are coming to us and they have all these struggles and these things going on. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. It's been 5 years. It's been 10 years. It's been 2 decades for some of these people. And I think, like you were saying, until people aren't willing to tolerate the pain of being in the exact same position, then they're finally going to run. But it's like somebody needs urgency. Like you said, gun to the head, I'm going to kill your mom, XYZ reason, right? People need that urgency to feel like the fire under their ass to actually go towards it. But then there's the other side. It's like you need urgency and then you need to be okay to run towards uncertainty.
Yes.
So that's the dichotomy.
It's a
that we
blend.
live within.
In the beginning, because someone asked me once, they're like, what is it good because it's called being away from motivated or towards motivated? So you're motivated to move away from pain or towards pleasure.
Right.
It's extremely useful to be motivated to avoid pain in the beginning. It's not sustainable though. Okay. And I like to use it though, still even on myself to get to a new level. So
Self-inflicted pain?
Sorry?
Self-inflicted pain is what you like to use?
No, yeah, I mean, so a good example is this. Because you can get complacent, right? Life's good. Like you guys don't even make any more money. You make enough money to live probably the life you want. And like, how much better can your life get?
I mean, private jet would be great.
That's it.
Yeah.
But fly private all the time.
Yeah.
But then what? Like, and you're really not far off that. Like, you don't have to make $1 billion to do that. You're not that far off to literally fly private nearly anywhere you want to go. Most people don't fly private even globally because it's dumb expensive. So even people, they'll still do a first class from, LA to Asia or Australia and then fly private there, right? So it's not even, it's not that much of the thing. Because so we make, I make millions a year and blah, blah, blah. It's pretty easy to go, why do I need to push harder this year? Like I could just chill.
Yeah, we've been there.
I can maintain. Life's good.
Yep.
And I was talking to Dean Graziosi about this as well. He goes, you got to decide which type of entrepreneur you are. He goes, you sound like a conquering type of entrepreneur. He goes, but then you can have lifestyle entrepreneurs. He's like, he goes, I'm a conqueror. He's like, I always want to just keep more and more and more. He goes, but I've got friends who make a lot of money because that's what they need for their lifestyle. And they like that. So you can decide which one you want to be. But we were in Europe. So I was proposing to Simona. We had a very short window to go to Europe and back. So we had like 2 weeks to go from Australia to Europe and back, right? So we were going to fly business through Dubai, but it was going to take like an extra 3 days because we had to do a layover and all this shit. So I remember just going economy, bang, straight into Europe, straight away back. It's a long flight. And we're leaving Finland, and we're flying from Finland direct to like Hong Kong. It was like 15 hours or something. And it was New Year's and I was sitting there and I even said to someone, I'm like, I don't know if, like, I just don't have that drive this year to like, why do I need to go bigger? Like, we just did the same as last year and let's chill. And she was getting worried as she does. She's like, you need to keep working. And then we're sitting in the economy flight home for 15 hours.
This is why.
And I sat there and I'm like, I was sitting like this. I'm like, and I was Tasha, I'm like, I now know. I'm like, enjoy your flight. This will be the last time we ever ever fly economy.
Yeah.
Never in a million years happened. So me coming over here was, I'm like, I'm paying for it. And then she was like, are you paying for it? I'm like, yes, I'm paying for it. Because like my day how much I'm worth in a day is a lot more than a flight.
Right.
So if I land and I've had a shitty sleep and I've got to land in LA at 5 o'clock and then sleep all day to get, because I'm jet lagged, that I've just wasted like, a $50,000 day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if I pay for a flight and I wake up and I land in LA and I'm like kind of good to go, it's worth it.
Make
So,
it back.
so it's, so I still look for pain and pleasure all the time, because it's like a plane getting off the ground. A plane can't get off the ground unless it's 100% throttle. So in the beginning, you need 100% throttle, right? So use that pain in the beginning. It's like, I need to just, for me, it was every day I'd wake up to go to my job site, I would hate it. So every day I came home, smelly, sweaty, and I would come home at 8 o'clock at night. I've been working since 5 o'clock that morning. The only thing I wanted to do was go to sleep. And because I had such a shit day, I used that as like the paradox. I'm like, I have no time to build my business. And because I have no time is the exact reason why I have to build my business.
Right.
And I was sleep deprived for about 6 months because I'd work till midnight, sleep 4 hours. And I'm like, and I don't recommend that. This is what a lot of gurus don't do. A lot of gurus these days, you'd be like, have a morning routine, do red light therapy, cold therapy, hot therapy, this therapy, all this shit, because that's what they did once they made it.
Yeah.
But they forget that in the beginning, what got them where they are isn't what they do now.
Right.
I didn't do a morning routine until I was living in Mexico. And I was like, oh, this is way better.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is the way now. I'm like, but I didn't have a fucking time to do a morning routine when I was working 14 hours a day. I had to use every minute to work on my business.
Yeah.
I don't recommend sleeping 4 hours a night, but I did.
Yeah. To get
so like,
there.
I'm not gonna say do it, but I'm not gonna say don't do it. I'm gonna say like, I mean, choose your own. You got to pick how bad you want it. And I did it for about 6 months, and that's what got me from like exploding my business. I was just like all in certainty. But I will keep coming back to that and going, what do I want next? And why do I need it? So like, what's the pain? So why stands for what hurts you. So I go, what hurts you now? I draw up my current reality. What hurts me about this? What hurts me about this? What hurts me about this? And that's what I'll get that just little edge again. So every time you want to get to the plane gets off the ground, you can chill at altitude if you want. But if you want to go to a new altitude, you gotta get a little bit more grit again. Get a little bit more force again. You're a little bit like, let's go up again. Then you can push, and then you can chill again. So every single time, if you want to get to a new level, you can use it. It's just not, you just don't want to sustain it. I mean, if a jet was on all the time, it would blow its engines.
Yeah, you're exhausted. It's funny. So you said you were in that grind, and I think it's seasonal too, right? You were in that grind season. But now, something that I found so fascinating when I met you was how many days a week you work. And I don't know if that's changed in the last year, but is that still the same? You work
how many days a week?
It was like 3 or 4 days a week that you're working, and then the rest you'll go skydive, you'll go do your thing. I found that so fascinating.
I operate in seasons. Seasons. Typically, I like working 6 days. But I've been in seasons, and what I've realized is, so I might be in a season of, I mean, like here in America, I'm not working that much.
Yeah.
Like I'm quite like we snowboard all day yesterday. I'm here with you guys now. I was at some like American Indian heritage things before. I was looking at history and stuff. Like, it's fucking sick, right? So, do I still do that? Depends. It really just depends on the season.
Yeah.
I still like to skydive as much as I can. I'm in a very different season now. I have a 7-month-old kid. Company's growing bigger. I think growing a business to like $1 million a year, you can have a lot of freedom. Pushing to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bigger, it's like this hourglass. And you go through this hourglass, you're in the middle. Through that gap for about 1 to 6 mil a year, you're sort of in this gap to go, okay, I got to squeeze a bit here and probably work a little bit harder. Funny enough. So I got to work a bit harder to get through this next whole thing, or I'll just go back, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where I'm right now. I could work 3 days a week. Absolutely. I could. But I'm in this season of going like, we're in this, I want to push.
Squeeze in a little.
Like, let's get to this thing. So I'm not working because I'm like, I've got to work. I'm working because I'm really excited to do it. But probably last time I was more in that like others. We'll probably come to the cusp of that where I'm like, I mean, life's good. Like life's chilling. Like it's happening. But now I've just like we're wanting to take things huge.
Do you think fatherhood changed that?
Yeah, I think a little bit for sure. I mean, now I'm not just paying for one person's life. I'm paying for 3. Because Simona was working as well, right? So we had, she had we didn't really have to like, I covered like all of our living expenses and stuff, but she had all of her own money to do whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
But now anywhere we go, we're paying for 3 people.
Right.
You know?
And you got to pay for the magic bag, the magic
it's wild.
floor that we talked about
The what?
yesterday with, was it, I think Brad Lee with his, the laundry on the floor. Now you got to pay for the magic purse.
Yeah, the magic purse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Bradley. Yeah, that was funny. Some women don't like that as well. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what do you guys think about that? The whole they call it the trad wife.
Yeah.
thing?
Well, I was funny
What's your
because I was going to say
perspective on that?
pivot to, before we wrap up here, I wanted to pivot to like relationship stuff
Yeah.
because I think you have an interesting outlook on it.
Yeah.
But I think it's very in line with the way that we view it too.
Do you think you get to a point in your business where you're like, can I just like quit now? Like, can you just run the thing and can you just like be home and have kids? And do you think you'll get to that, or you'll still always be like, I just want to roll up my sleeves and get into this as well?
See, I don't think she'll ever let herself get to that place.
No, I think
Audrey's too, like, she needs to have her hands doing stuff. Like, if she goes idle for too long, she gets antsy. She wants to like be a part of something, building something, doing something productive. I think it's just a part of her nature. It's a part of her upbringing, and it's just like coded in who she is.
Yeah.
Now that could change drastically, as you start, pumping out little
hormones-
babies
when
and
a baby
the
comes in,
baby
starts
might
changing.
change
Hormone
something.
cocktail.
For
Yeah.
me, I think that's something I'm always prepared for. So like, even if it did, it'd be like, cool. Like,
I think you like that I am this way though, in a way too.
I do.
Would you rather Audrey be in the business working with you every day, or would you kind of like the idea of like you do the business and you come home and switch off, and she's like a wife, and what would you prefer?
If that were you today or like in the future?
Let's even say today.
I could I manage it for sure, and I think it'd be fine. But I think it's so much more fun that we're doing it together, and I think it's so much more fun that it makes things so much more interesting. We can shoot the shit, talk about everything and anything at all points throughout the day, but like we're working towards the same vision. So I think having that, and like, because I think I play that game with myself. I'm like, what would it be like if we didn't have that, and we didn't? And then I always come back to, I'm like, nah, like this is way better. It's way better. And I think, you would agree, at least from that
Yeah,
perspective.
for sure. Yeah, and I think like I just have a very big goal of wanting to impact so many women, and I feel like if I were to, if I were, it almost feels like that's like a mission, right? So to let go of that mission would be really challenging. Right. But I think
It's like it would be a whole new identity for her.
Yeah.
oh, it'd be,
To like
and
go
that's what's
from this
scary.
like boss babe, let's go get it. I'm getting after it, to just completely, motherhood. Because like we also see that too. Like her brother's wife Taylor is she's a mom, and like she's got stay-at-home mom, got all the kids, living that lifestyle. So we can see that from like a different lens. And Bryce works, and he's away from home, comes back, and all those things. But I think even like seeing that, it's like, would we want that reality? Would we want that to be? And I think maybe, who knows, never say no. But I think just the way we're wired, it would just be a different realm entirely for us. Yeah. Or
But
at
you and
least for
Simona
you.
have a very different relationship in the sense of you're not building the same business together.
We like yes and no. Like Simona's similar to you. She's got drive. Simona's more of an entrepreneur. So she's got that entrepreneur attitude, but she wants to hitch her wagon to someone else who can hold that vision, and then she wants to push stuff. You're kind of like, let's fucking get out. Like, you're okay to hold that and push that thing. She's more entrepreneurial, so she doesn't just like sit at home and sew.
Yeah.
Like she's like, she wants to get in and do stuff. So she'll absolutely, like, when Cole's asleep and stuff, she's like, can I do something? She'll like want to help and do, like, she tries to find little tasks, and she'll like try design slides or try plan our next events. And so she's wanting to do stuff, but she like does want to start a business, but I think she likes the idea of figuring shit out. But I'm not sure if she wants to like hold that flag and torch and lead from the front.
Yeah.
But she would sort of like, if I said to her, I was like, let's start a business together, she'd love it. But the only reason we don't is because I'm staying focused.
Yeah. And now
so she works in the business still.
Okay.
Yeah, but not like, she doesn't have like a job or.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does it to fill her creativity output
And the drive.
Yeah.
Do you find that attractive about her? Like, if she was somebody who could be okay just knitting and being a mom, stay-at-home mom.
I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
No, I like the blend. So my ex was very much like me. We like the same personality. So she was very like, want to have a business, want the limelight. She wanted to do those sorts of things. And I didn't like that after all. Like I was like, I don't want this because I didn't know in the relationship that I didn't want it, but once I got out of it and I met Simona, I loved it because I had a very public relationship with my ex. We're like insta couple and all this stupid shit. Yeah. and then when it ended, I was like, it was just so annoying because you had all these people who don't even know me. People start to take sides and all this shit, right? I was like, screw this stuff. So when I met Simona, I was just like, I love that I can have my public life, but then I have a private life. So with Simona, it was very like I'd come home and it was just our life. Yeah. No one even knew about Simona for about a year and a half into our relationship. It was great.
Yeah.
We never posted a picture together, never did anything together. It was just great, and we both liked it. We're like, we don't want to have to push this because it doesn't feel like it's just great.
Yeah.
Right. But if she was just sort of like this woman who just wanted to like stay at home and do nothing, I wouldn't want that either. Right. You know, and that's okay. Like everyone has different values. That's what it is. Like you pick your partner based off your values. So what's important for you in a relationship, you get met with Mason. That's why you love each other, right? You're like, well, it's very important. He's like this. I want someone like this, right? Values. So for me, what's important in a relationship, someone who's kind, loving, loyal, caring, and ambitious. I want ambition. If there was no ambition, I wouldn't, because I'd feel like I'm putting everything. Simona is like amazing. So she has so much ambition where she really can push and support me still. Like even like we were talking last night and she's like, so I was talking about what I was doing out here and she's like, what else are you doing? Like you got to go meet people, like go and network with people. Like she's like,
she's pushing you.
Yeah.
That's
where
good.
like she's like that. And if I had someone who's just, I don't know, it feels like you guys would know, like if you have like a shit day, you can talk to each other.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Know? And if I didn't have a partner who sort of just got it a bit,
right,
I'd feel like it's all on me.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything's on me all the time anyway. Then I can come home and speak to Simona and it's awesome, right? So I need to have that bit of ambition where when we do want to talk about and like dream and stuff where we're like, yeah, let's do this. Like she wants to make more money than me.
Yeah.
That's because she doesn't build the business. She's not in the seat. She's like, we need to make $1 billion.
It's exhausting.
I'm like, I don't think you understand just how much actually $1 million of profit a year actually is. And that's like $20K a week. Go try to spend that. She goes, oh, I could.
Yeah.
I said, you probably could for like a month. But like after that, what are you doing? She goes, I could always just keep shopping. Like, you couldn't. You couldn't. You don't get it because like you know.
She's like, let's put it to the test.
Yeah. Like she's like that, right? So that's what I said to her. I'm like, she's like, we would make so much more money. I'm like, I kind of want to grow to like maybe 10 or 20 million a year, and then we'll reassess and go, do I want to take this plane to the new altitude?
Yeah.
Or can we just kick it here?
I gotta meet her. I gotta meet
You'll love
Simona.
it.
Yeah.
We have to.
So I want to. We'll wrap up here.
But sorry. Yeah. But we are in traditional because she's Eastern European.
Yep.
Okay, so she has this ambition. She and I both love the idea that I go make a fuck ton of money, and she's good at holding the fort. Right. So she'll hold the fort. Like so, we joke. Like I said yesterday. So I saw that clip of Bradley where he's like, "I got a magic floor. I throw all my clothes on the ground." And it somehow just ends up folded, washed back in my wardrobe. And people went crazy in the comments. And he's like, yeah, but they didn't hear the second part, that my wife has a magic purse as well. Every time she opens it, there's money in there. And I joke with someone, I'm like, magic carpet? Magic floor? She goes, magic purse? I'm like, yeah. So like we sort of have that thing where, you know, it's awesome where like I come home and like she just takes care of like home stuff. And it's actually really good seeing her go into motherhood because she used to work in sales. So she was quite like masculine, stressed sometimes. And now she just gets to like play. And it's just awesome to see that I can see she does not have to worry at all about money. She can just go out to dinner if she wants, go out with her friends. She can do whatever she wants. She can go buy new stuff for Koa, like whatever. Doesn't have to ask, doesn't have to check, does whatever she wants. And I do what I want. I do what I need. And it just works. You know, if there's sort of like, if I came home and it was all like, I need you to share this stuff with me, I'd be like, I'm not fucking doing that. Either like, it's all good if you don't want to do it, but I'm going to pay someone to do it. But I'm not cleaning my house. I'm not doing the washing. I'm not cooking food. If you want to do that, then I'd love you to do it. But if you don't want to do it, you don't have to either. But she likes to do it. She's Eastern European.
It's cool that
she loves to cook.
It's cool that motherhood changed that. I think I could totally see that being the case for myself as well, where it softens me up and it gets me a little bit more feminine because you know, there's the masculine side of things has driven a lot of what we've done together, I think, up to this point. But you see the soft side of me. You see the feminine side. I melt around babies and cute little things and all these other stuff.
I think you will. Like, you guys are growing a good business. By the time you have kids, you'll probably get to the point where you can step out and it still runs, right? Because you will want to get to a point, like, Koa's 7 months year old now, and the thought of having, like, put him in daycare for the week so someone can go to a job, neither of us want that.
Yeah.
So, like, you'll change the game. You'll be like, okay, before kids, we thought we can get back into it, but you might be like, I don't want to. I just want to be a mum.
Totally.
But then you'll be able to find the pockets.
Right.
Yeah.
So you'll be like, no, I'm still going to do stuff in the business. I'm still going to do stuff, but, like, don't rely on me to do the stuff.
Right.
You'll be like, I also just want to be a mum.
Yeah.
And that's what you've built. You're building your dream life. So you can do that. Like, ultimately,
Yeah.
you want to be able to be there and just be a full present parents.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like, oh, we have to work.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I like. And to be honest, being on this trip, I called last night. I'm like, it actually sucks. I'm like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, because usually I'll come out here by myself. I'm like, it's fine. I'm like, but now it's different. I'm like, I want you and Cole to be here.
Yeah.
But the only reason we did is because I'm in so many different cities on this trip, and it's just a nightmare doing that with a kid.
Yeah. I can't imagine that.
Yeah,
Sounds
it's just,
awful.
It's hectic. So
Yeah.
So, but it's, we're having to try figure out how to still do life we want to do now with this little potato with legs now in our life.
You love that. You love that analogy. It's just a potato. He's a potato in your eyes. It's so cute.
Now he's like a bag of potatoes. His arms just go everywhere.
Oh, I love it. Keeping on the topic of relationships. So you said you wouldn't really like if maybe she just wanted to stay at home and knit and do all these things. If she started to change in that way, in a way that maybe you didn't like, or a way that you didn't find as attractive as you did when you first met her, do you think that love is unconditional?
Yeah, we've talked about this. We've talked very openly about this. And no, love in a relationship is not unconditional. Yeah, so Simone and I love her conditionally. She loves me conditionally. Yeah. But the paradox is this: one of my conditions is have unconditional love. Okay. So we're in a relationship. It'd be the same with you guys, right? So let's say you're like, because you guys are quite similar, right? You're like, it's conditional. That's what you said yesterday. But if Mason just didn't love you and didn't appreciate you and didn't do nice things for you and take you on dates, you'd be like, fuck you, man. I'll find anyone in the world who's going to treat me like a queen. Right. He treats you like a queen. And that'd be one of your conditions. Yeah. If you're not going to treat me like a queen, I don't want to be with you. Yeah. And he'd be the same. If you're not going to treat me like a king, I don't want to be with you. Yeah. The condition. Yeah. That's my boundary. That's my standard. Okay. So and that's what we've talked about. So I treat her like a queen. She treats me like a king. Like she's amazing. And I do everything I can for her as well. But we've also talked about this. Like, if I go really just fat one day, right, would you still be with me? I'm like, it's not like I would just leave you. Right. But I would have a conversation and be like, baby, what the fuck is going on?
Are you letting yourself go? Yeah. Like, is your mental health slipping?
Right. Yeah. And I'd be like, let's do a challenge together. Like we need, because what, and we've both said the same thing. We've both, like, very openly, if we ever slipped up, we give each other permission to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, the accountability is so important.
So it's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like that's why when sometimes I just talk out loud to someone else. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I want to push harder this year. She's like, alarm bells, freak out, because she's like, no, like, we have to keep growing. Yeah, So, and that's the thing, and that's why I need that in the partner. Because imagine she's like, yeah, baby, just take the year off, and she allowed me to lower my standard. We hold each other at a high standard. Yeah. Right? So yeah, when people say like, oh, love is unconditional, we love me unconditionally, how I view that is, loving unconditionally means you can go and murder someone, you can become a drug addict, you can go and do something really just shit in your life, and I'm always gonna be there and love you. Right. That's self-abandoning now.
Yeah, right. Totally.
You're abandoning your own self-love and self-esteem. And so let's say if someone had a complete midlife crisis and she's like, you know what? I've never touched drugs in my life. I'm gonna start doing ice. My first response would be like, okay. I mean, if you wanna try, I guess. But just be home at 9.
Be safe.
So we can go. Yeah, but then if it happened every single weekend, I'd be like, okay, straight up, what on earth is going on here? I'm not being married to a drug addict. Yeah. Like, what is this? Not having my kid around a drug addict. I'd be instant, just bang. We're gonna separate from this and then deal with it. Be like, I can still love and support you. Yeah. But I'm not gonna tolerate this. I'm not gonna accept the behavior. Right. I can love you, but I'm not going to accept that behavior. Yeah. Okay, because my condition is I don't want to have a drug addict as a partner.
You have standards.
Yeah. And I would absolutely, I wouldn't just abandon her and be like, oh, well, done. But I'd be like, hey, I want to try and get you help. I want to love you. Get you off the drugs, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to love you as a person until I see his behavior completely change. And if she completely changed and went back, we're good again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like in that, and it'd be the same thing if I just started being a psycho. And we see this a lot with like women. Like women, how many women do you know who have stayed in shitty relationships and their partner just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse?
It's awful.
And they hold on to hope.
Yeah.
Women tend to hold on to a lot of hope in a relationship. But he will change. Love.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna change.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna change. Like you
It's like
start
a FaceTime with my best friend. That's how it sounds.
It's like you start dating him, and he was already a shit kind of guy. He's cheating on his wife with you, like, and he's on drugs, and he goes on benders on the weekend. Go. He ain't gonna change.
Right.
Yeah.
Like don't think that you're gonna come in here and be like, but I can clean him up. You can't polish a turd.
It's not your job to change him.
Yeah.
It's not your job.
Yeah. But like a lot of women are like that because they're more nurturing.
For sure.
You know, it's like that nature. It's like, but I see the potential and it's sweet. But unfortunately, like I see a lot in women. Like we teach a lot of relationship dynamics at our events, and we had a woman at one of our last events, and she was in the room, and she's like, "I'm here to work on my relationship." Cool. Which one's your partner? He's not here. Okay, well, it's gonna be challenging. Do it. Okay, but we can work on you. Not gonna work on a relationship, but we can work on you. Okay, but why is he not here? Oh, he would never come to something like this. I said, okay, why? And she goes, well, actually, he called me a fucking idiot for even being here. Why he wasted money at a personal development program? I said, How long have you been with him? 30 years. I said, okay. And you want him to be? Yeah, I really want him to be here. How long have you tried to get him to be in an event like this? Oh, for like 20 years at least.
Wow.
I said, when are you going to get the point that what you value in a relationship, which would be probably growth, he doesn't value in a relationship?
Yeah.
You can be his friend, but what you want in a relationship, okay? I'll give you another scenario. I have a really close friend, and she's done a lot of our programs, and every time she comes to my room, she contemplates leaving her partner, okay? Because sometimes I always say to people, I'm like, you come to my events, you'll either leave having a lot more sex or probably breaking up with them, right?
It's great outcomes.
Yeah.
One or two things are going to happen, right? We have to rip that band-aid off because most people are just in a really crap relationship and they're lowering, like they want orange, okay? Like they say, I'm looking for orange. But they'll tolerate burgundy and they'll call it orange. It's close enough, right? That's
good
what,
enough.
that's what people are doing. They're like, it's not. And that's what people are like, I'll just get that. Why? Certainty. So I'd rather have certainty that someone will be there when I get home than to stay single and maybe find orange one day. You know what I mean? So I see a lot of people with like a 6 relationship because they really wanted an 8 or a 9, but they just tolerate because something's better than nothing.
Just settle.
So she comes in and she's like, she wants to leave him anyway. So support that sort of thing. I said, and because I'm friends with both of them, I'm like, I mean, just because I'm friends with you doesn't mean I'm gonna still help you guys through a crap relationship. But anyway, they end up staying together. She comes back in. She tries to do it again. They end up staying together. And the third time it's happened. I said, I'm going to say this time not to leave him because something's obviously not happening. And I said, we ended up going for a beach walk. And I said to her, tell me, what's the major problem? Like, why do you want to leave him all the time? And she's like, well, I just want him to like come on a hike with me. I just want to do life together. I want to have an adventure. And all he wants to do is like play golf and watch Netflix. I said, okay, what do you love most about him in the relationship? Like, what do you value? Like, what's important for you in a relationship? This is what anyone can ask yourself this. In the context of a relationship, what's most important to me? She goes, loyalty, caring, trust, touches. I like touches. I said, okay. Is he loyal? Oh, yeah. Does he love you? Oh, yeah. Is he caring? Yeah. Does he give you touches? Yeah. Great. He's not the problem. You're the problem.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, because you're getting what you want in the relationship. He's perfect for your relationship. What you're doing is you're trying to change him to be someone who he's fucking not.
Right.
You like adventure. He doesn't. You like fun shit. He doesn't. He wants to watch Netflix. Let him watch Netflix. But if you valued growth and success and ambition in a relationship and he was just watching Netflix all the time, different story.
Right.
But that wasn't important to you. What was important to you is to have just some loving guy who gives you touches that you can trust and is loyal.
And that's what he is.
That's what he is. So stop trying to change him. You go do adventurous shit. Let him play for golf. So that's why me and Samantha joke all the time. Like, she'll be like, you want to come do arts and crafts? I'm like, no.
You won't do it.
And I've never asked you to play golf with me.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I won't. I'm like, I'm not going to ask you to skydive with me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, like, I know you just don't like it. So I'm not gonna, and I don't need you to skydive with me.
I was gonna say, but you're okay with that.
Yeah, what I need you to do is but if I say, I'm gonna start this new business, can you come have a look at it? And you're like, no, I don't care. I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, it's off-putting.
What I'd love is you to want to come in the office and be like, oh, how can I help? That's what I love. But if I want to go do just fun shit with my friends and you don't want to be part of that, I'm very okay with that. It's okay. Because I have my life, you have your life, and we come together and we share a portion of life.
Yeah.
That's a healthy relationship. When some people are like, I mean, if you've got, like, you guys we snowboard together, so we still do fun shit because I wanted to still do shared experiences.
Right, exactly.
Like, if she didn't want to do anything, didn't want to travel or snowboard, I'd be like,
It's tough.
oh, like, I want to have fun with you.
Yeah, that's important.
But I don't need you to like all the things I like. She likes to hike. I fucking hate it. So when we go, she's like, I want to hike Mount Everest. I said, you should do that. She goes, do you want to come? I said, I'll come. I'll meet you at the top in a helicopter. I don't need I don't need to have to go through the hike to get the enjoyment of going to Mount Everest. Like, I'll take a chopper. I'll meet you there.
So Morgan coded. So Morgan coded. Let's take a chopper to go snowboarding. Oh, I love it. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about mindset, all the things. If someone were to listen to this and only implement one thing to change their life, what would it be?
It'd be two things. It'd be one, get clarity on the goal, like the real goal, that scary goal, that in-betweener. It's like that 5x goal kind of thing. So 10x kind of too big, 1x is nothing, 2x is nothing, 5x is that good one. Find that good middle goal so you actually get fired up for something, and then make a list of all the things that scare you and start doing them each day. Start doing something each day. But even we've heard that before, I do what scares you, but like, understand the science of it. The reason I'm asking you to do it is because you're developing that self-trust within. You're developing, and you're stacking that more and more evidence of becoming that person that's courageous, becoming that person that's fearless, becoming that person that does big, bad shit. Because when you get into business, you're going to need that. You're going to need to go, like, it's all about self-trust, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to launch a product. How do I know if it's going to work? You don't know. But trust yourself. Just do your absolute best and go figure it out. That's what business is about. And that's actually what life's about. Like, there's no roadmap to life. There's no blueprint. I'm figuring this shit out as we go along. I have no idea what I'm doing still. I'm just doing my best based off the data and feedback I have from yesterday and the days before yesterday. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. No one does.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All we're trying to do is do the best we can. Like, Elon Musk has no idea what he's doing. He's just trying.
It's a crazy concept, huh?
He's trying, isn't he? He has no idea what he's doing. He's still figuring things out as he's going along. But why he's seeing so big is because he's got decades and decades and decades of crushing it before. So his self-trust is so high. He's like, can we go to Mars? I don't know. But I trust himself that we can figure this out. And he's taking action like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that, can I go to Mars? I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how to get home.
Yeah. I think that's one of the best beliefs you can have is everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
my
important.
favorite.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Morgan Nelson, thank you for coming in
Yeah.
today. Can't get over there.
Hey, where can people find you if they want to work with you, if they want to learn from you? Where can they find you? Where can they do that?
Yeah. Instagram, Morgan T. Nelson is the favorite place to get me. That's where I put everything. Otherwise, YouTube. We have our podcast on YouTube. We've had some amazing people on there. Find me, Morgan Nelson, on that. Just come hang out there.
Cool. We're in Australia.
Or Dream Out Loud. They can find the podcast on platforms and stuff. Or come to Australia. But we're actually pivoting everything to go virtual as well.
Nice.
We do want to do a lot in America. I just don't. I think, like, legally to get over here and do business is harder.
Yeah.
And require me to move here and things like that, which don't.
You don't want to move here?
I'd like to move for a portion.
Okay.
Don't know. I just haven't really. Like, it might come in the next 5 years. We might sort of get out here, and if I do, I'll come out here.
Hell
Move to
yeah.
Phoenix, I think.
You should.
But so what we're doing in the meantime is to sort of impact more people. Is we're putting a lot more things virtual. So if people come find us anywhere, we'll find you.
Amazing.
You find me,
We'll find
let that
you.
algorithm pick it up, let that pixel get it.
And then we'll find you. I love it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Morgan.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Yes.
Appreciate you both.
Of
Amazing.
course.